Good morning. We're working with the book, and today's lesson, each one of us is divine, if even we are unaware of that. As we begin to honor and love the self, we begin to awaken to our true and divine nature. This leads to satisfaction and fulfillment. The color today is blue. Blue is a sign of spirituality, and it's a time when we begin to look at ourselves. All of us have had relationships. Some failed, some fell apart, and instead of letting go, we still try to hold on. We carry resentfulness, bitterness, we have hurt feelings, and life comes to a standstill. For once there is hate, fear, and anger, there can be no going forth. In most of our human relationships, we turn our lives over to someone else. We become dependent on them. They become what we live for, and in many cases, what we die for. And as life goes on, the more we stay with that mental state, believing that what we are looking for is outside of us, sometimes very late in life, we get the rude awakening that there is nothing on the outside that can bring us peace and joy. In the little story that Emma gave in the booklet, she talks about one morning one day she was in Miami, and she had a conversation with the Spirit of God in her. I don't know about you all, but I have had a lot of incidents in my life when I personally could say I heard a voice. It began way in my early life, through my teens, through my 20s. And it was not until one day in 1975, I was about 2, and I sat at my desk, and what appeared to me was a long tube, like a conduit. And at the end, I saw myself standing in a group, being presented with an object for my retirement. And I said to me, that's not my life. About a year after, I was walking between two buildings on campus. And I had this experience where I had a headache, which I had for a long time, but I dismissed. But it became very clear that something was wrong with me. I went back to my office, and I looked in the yellow pages for a doctor. We had yellow pages back then. We did not have computers and Google. And I found the nearest doctor, which was in the plaza not too far from where I live. And I went. And while sitting down, he took my blood pressure and he looked at me. He said, "How old are you?" Which I gave him the information at that time. And he put me to lay on the bed. And then he took it again. He said, stay here for a while. And he came back and read it again. He said, if I let you get out, you can have a stroke or you can die. In that moment, I heard myself telling myself, I want to live. And that voice that was with me as a little child and through my unruly teenagehood came back. And I know for sure that there is something within me that seeks to guide me forward. And whenever I am obedient, wonderful things happen. But all of us, like sheep, we go astray. We go every man according to his way. And then we suffer. But out of that suffering comes forth good if we but listen again to that inner voice that is always seeking to have a personal relationship with us. It is that spirit or breath that God breathed in us in the beginning, allowing us to become thinking beings. And if our thoughts could be focused on the nature and presence of God in us, everything will work together for good. There was a man from Nazareth called Joshua. We know him as Jesus. And being away from traditional religious practices that he grew up in, he discovered that he and the Father, or he and this spiritual essence at the center of his being, was one. He said in John 14 and 10, do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father in me? That the words that I say to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but the Father who dwells in me does his work. When he was teaching the disciples to have a personal relationship with their own personal God, he said in Matthew chapter 6 and 9, he said, when you pray, or when you go into your own secret chamber, pray in this manner, our Father. Recognizing that the same Father that was in him was in his disciples. That he was not God. That he was, like all of us, expressions of God. And God resides at the center of every human being, waiting for that human being to recognize it and begin to use it so that they can find peace and joy. And Jesus had a personal relationship with this presence in him that he called Father. In having worked with it, he discovered that he could heal. He could feed the multitude with whatever they wanted. He could give sight to the blind. He could even raise those deadness or that dead parts of us. And he said, the things that I do, you too can do. If that same God presence was only the presence of God in Jesus, Jesus could never have said that the things he did, we can do. That means all of us having come to the realization that we need to have a personal relationship with this God presence, whenever that happens, and we begin to listen and follow, wonderful things will begin to happen. It is about you coming to the realization that the kingdom of heaven is within you, waiting for you to bring it into expression. It is not about God to come to you. It is about you to come to know that God is you, that you are the expression of this spiritual force that we know nothing of. It is called, Emma said, it is called by so many different names, because every language would produce a different word from the same idea, because an idea is a transcendental entity that is perfect, but every human being that comes to know it sees it differently and renders it imperfect. So many of us say the word God, but to each and every one of us who utters that word, we have a different understanding of what that word could mean. The question this morning is, what kind of relationship do you have with your God presence? To Jesus, it was a father-son relationship. Not one of a slave, but one of a son. A son who was granted the privilege of traveling through the whole kingdom and enjoying everything in the kingdom. Whether he failed at doing what he wanted to do, he could always go back and find peace. The word God is just an English term to describe a phenomenon that none of us know what it is. But we just know that we didn't get here by ourselves, and that the world was not just something that happened. It happened within the context of something happening. And this happening is God that is always happening. This eternal flow of divine substance that is always here, has always been here, and none of us know what it is. It just is. Sometimes when we place a word on anything, we limit our ability to experience it. So by saying God, sometimes we limit our capacity to experience this great eternal force that was before us, will be after us. For it is all that there is, all that there has been, all that there will be. And as Paul says to the Athenians, he says, in God we live and move and have our being. So even the relationships I have outside of myself in the physical, it's all happening in God. So how could anybody hurt me? Because God cannot hurt me. So when I think that other people are hurting me, that's my thinking about who I am and what God is. This God idea represents so many different things. In the Old Testament, many people had many concepts based on where they were and based on what their needs were. God This word is described as the creator in the beginning. In the beginning, when God began the creation, God is creator. It was the only presence and the only power in the universe then, and still is. It was unseen before creation took place. Everything was unseen, invisible, intangible. There was nothing. So this God idea is pure spirit, that which we cannot see, invisible to our eyes. So we don't need to worship a rock or a stone or an image of anything on the earth. All we have to do is to realize wherever I am, it is. Hello. It is pure energy, it is the breath, it is intelligence, it is principles, it is the foundation, it is the principle, it is the first cause, source and supply, it is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. It is everywhere equal at all times. So I can't go there and say, well, God only has 10% here and 100% here. Wherever I am, the same presence, equal amount is there. Isn't that fascinating? Even in your low state, when you're hurting, God is there. Even sometimes when you go to the bank and the bank says you are in default, you have no money. In fact, you owe the bank. God is there. Hello. Even sometimes when your body is racked with pain. Hello now. God is there. Woo. To the Old Testament patriarchs, God was so many different things. But they had a personal relationship with this God. To Adam, God was creator, and also God was a God that gave commandments and had punishments associated with the commandment. Thou shalt not eat of the fruit of good and evil. The day that thou eatest, thou shalt die. This God did not forgive. You made a mistake, you got punished. And this God told you the punishment before. He gave you the command. And this God was wicked there. Because this God used to curse you. By the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread, and the woman, she shall have pain in childbirth. I'm going to make it hard for you. But that's human thinking. That's Adam's thinking about God. Because wherever we are, we bring what? Our ability to think to the table. And we conjure up what is supposed to be. Why would a God that created all and said that everything I created is absolute good, no wickedness? That means wickedness is in man's heart. That which is pure cannot know anything impure. Well, how are we doing? To Noah, his God was a choosy God. His God used to look down from above and say, that one is the best, I will use him. And the others are going to drown, man. They are goners. I'm going to create this big flood. And it's only special people. Even the animals who didn't do anything, they're going to go too. And even the trees, they're gone. Everything gone. To Abraham, God was the most high God that looked down and knew what you wanted and guided you to whatever you need to find fulfillment. Get thee out of your father's house. Get you away from here that you don't like and go to a place. Separate yourself from that which is holding you back, and I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you. Get out of the old mindset, and I will build in you a new consciousness so that you could appreciate me in your food. That is a loving God. Hello now. And Abraham went and did all kinds of stuff, and it says after he had done what men call wicked, God blessed him, gave him more. Hello now. God multiplied even to the sheep and the camels, everything that he had. After he had done that. The kind of relationship that Abraham had was different to Noah and different to Adam. And then Jacob had a grandson. Well, he was a common thief from birth. A chief. A user from birth. Even while he was being born, he didn't want to do the work. He held on to his brother who was coming first and slid out without having to swim up. Then when he got older, cheated his brother, went to his uncle, cheated his uncle. In the end it says, and God blessed Jacob. Because they didn't have the human condition called guilt. They realized their life was about going forth, experimenting with life, living life to the fullest. You make a mistake, correct it, and move on. Stop beating up yourself when you think that you have done wrong. Go forth so life could live itself through you even more. What kind of relationship you have with your God? Emma's relationship with God is that God talked to her. Does your God talk to you or condemn you? Before you do it, you know the punishment. Yeah. Hello now. You see, we in our humanness, we make up concepts of God based on our experience with life. So sometimes when we hear God as Father, we look back at our fathers. My father was a brute, God is a brute. Well, that's the kind of knowledge I have of the word Father. And then came a man called Moses. Brought up as a prince in Egypt. But had compassion for some slaves that he saw, and he killed an Egyptian and had to flee. And went to a place where he was lonely and alone with sheep. And one day he had an experience, appearing as a burning bush. He had a conversation, and a relationship with God was established. And God said, I came to help you to deliver these people. God to Moses was a deliverer. That any trouble I am in, hello now, my God will deliver me. So even as he left and they came to the Red Sea, God provided an idea. Even while they were in the wilderness, God was with Moses and provided, hello now, ideas. Hello now. When you believe that God is with you always and God is the source of all your supply, whether it's idea or thing, you never feel you're going to run out. So you don't have to save for the rainy day and begin to hoard and stop living. How much toilet paper do you keep? Every Saturday morning, you go from sail to sea. You buy stuff, big packages at Costco, and half of the week you're going to throw it out. If you really believe that God is your source and your supply, in the moment of need, God will appear as a light. Hello now, to guide you. Hello now. God will appear as quail. Hello now. God will appear as honeydew on the leaves. What is this? Manna. This is what God has provided. Let us see. When you realize that wherever you are, whatever you need is already there because God is there, then you don't have to suffer and keep looking outside of yourself for what you didn't put there. You can't get anything if you didn't put it there. To Jacob, God was an empowering force. One that inspired him and said, be of good courage, be strong, and follow the principles that through Moses you have come to know. Don't move away from principles. His God is a God of principle. When God said so and so, God meant so and so. Integrity. I don't know. Do you have that? Yet still you expect a person in a relationship with you to have that. I want to tell you something. When I am building my lessons, I look at my life. If I say anything that relates to you, nobody told me. But if it kicks you in the butt, it means that all our lives travel the same path. That's why I stand here. To share my life stories with you. And there's so many. Wish I had time. To David, God was a uniting force that was able to bring all the tribes together and build one nation. I don't know. Power of love to unite. To David, or whoever wrote the Psalms in his name, God was also like a shepherd, and I a sheep, dumb, don't know where to go for anything and get anything. I put my entire life into the shepherd. So I could say the Lord shepherds me and I lack nothing. Hello now. From water to grass to wine to olive oil, God provides it. Woo. So therefore, I put my trust in God. My relationship with God is pure trust. I know that even the lions that are, as I walk, lions are in the background. They're following me, waiting for me to stumble. You ever had things happening in you where people have been planning for you, just waiting for you to be? No. And the crows flying above and the vultures flying above, just saying. And they praying to the same God and say, God, let him drop down so I could get food. And you are saying, God, give me strength and lift me up. Isn't that nice? I think that's nice. To Solomon, God was a God of wisdom and understanding. What should I give you? Give me wisdom and understanding. That's all I need. If I get it, God, I could live it. If I don't get it, I can't live it. Because I realize that my life is not about those people over there. It's about me. If I don't get it, that people are against me, and it has nothing to do with the people, it's about me. It's something in me that needs to correct itself. So I could become a loving figure in their eyes. So when people are against me, it's not about the people who are against me. They have just brought my attention to a place that I could do some corrective work to be a blessing wherever I am. See, sometimes we walk around, well, this one doesn't like me, this one doesn't, no. They're helping you to see something in yourself that needs to be rectified, because some of us become so self-righteous. Ooh. I am the holiest of the holies. And he talks. To Ezekiel, God was the spirit of resurrection in him that could say to the bones, dry bones, get up. Lift yourself up. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You have the power to lift yourself up. Lift yourself up. Put flesh again on your body. Start becoming active in your life. Because there's nobody outside of you. There's a mortician or beautician. It's up to you. When you begin to build a relationship with God, something happens. You are not afraid of the terror by night or the pestilence that happens in the day. That inner spiritual presence becomes a fortress, a refuge. Like little chicks, when the storm clouds appear, when the big bird hovers above, there's nowhere to go. They scamper underneath their mother's wings. It's like your wings become my house. Wherever I am, whatever is happening in my life, I know that he or it that I have a relationship with is my strong place, and I don't have to be afraid. Amen. Woo! Put not your trust in men. They change. But this relationship that I have with God, God never changes. God was the same in the beginning, is now, and will be forevermore. God did not make any human being to take care of me. When God created me, God put itself in me, allowing me to become a living, thinking being, to bring about whatever I think about and to enjoy my life based on my state of consciousness. By declaring who I am, I will build my life on that. Who am I? All that God is, I am. I'm a lion. I don't know. I'm a spear. I could be whatever I want in the moment to take care of me, not to take care of anybody else. I have the power. All power is given to me to build my life. There's nobody outside of me who needs me more than me. When I discover that God's presence in me and build a relationship with Him, what else do I need? My God prepares a table before me. God does not even know that I am hungry, but the table is there. I don't know. I don't have to phone home and say, God, what do you have in the kitchen? Thou preparest a table before me, even in the presence of those who would see me suffer. Is there anybody in your life who you think want to see you suffer? Just by thinking that somebody wants to see you suffer, you will suffer. Because you are a sufferer. You like suffering. When you come to realize that this table has everything on it, for wherever I am, the goodness of God is there. It doesn't matter who is there. In this life, it doesn't matter who is there, God is there. And if God is there, I could never suffer. Yea, though I walk through the valley, hello now, of seeming death. You ever come to a place where you say, Elizabeth, I'm coming? You feel it's the end? Those of you who didn't get it, you're too young. Speak to Barbara, she will tell you what I'm talking about. Have you ever been to that place where you feel like the end is near? All you need to do is call my name, and I'll be there, ready and waiting. Even when I go through the valley of death, I know that life is a continuum, it does not stop. So why would I be afraid? Death cannot cheat me from life. Because in seeming death, there is life. Ooh, you ever been to the desert or a place where they say is barren? I don't know. And a little bit of rain falls and you see all the weeds come up. Because what? The presence of life is always there. So why should you be discouraged? Why should you be full of fear? When your friend, who is always seeking to make a friend with you, is always near. But some of us have long eyes. We want what our neighbor has. No, no, no. My God is the breath that I breathe. It's closer to me than the breath, actually, my God. My partner in life is closer to me than the breath I breathe. It's like the wetness in the water, they can't be separated. I cannot be separated from my God, my God. So even sometimes when I think it is not true. The first relationship that we must seek to develop is one with self. Coming to know who you are. You are not what they told you you are. That's other people's thoughts about you. Not true. Sometimes the teachers in school say to us, you will never amount to anything. Even our parents who brought us into the world say to us at times, you are bad. Even your friends sometimes tell you, you're no good. What can I do with you? Lies. Opinions based on their consciousness, not on who you are. You are a spiritual being. Hello now. Every moment that you live is an opportunity for you, based on your knowledge of self, to do more, become more, produce more. There is no limit to your being. If you tell yourself, I will, it will happen. If you tell yourself, I am unlimited, you open the gates and the flood comes. If you believe in yourself, if you put all the trust that you have first in yourself, and listen to that inner voice within you, you could never ever go wrong. And success and fulfillment will come. There is nobody outside of you who can think for you. They can only offer you their opinion. If you trust them and follow them, you will end up like with Bear Rabbit in the bamboo patch or whatever, or the tar patch. You will end up in places that you shouldn't be. I remember I was about 12 or 13. Somewhere going on 14, 15. In that area. And where we lived, we would walk for about 2 or 3 hours over the mountains to get to Maracas Beach in Trinidad. We would do that every Sunday as a form of exercise for playing soccer and all sorts of stuff. And this particular day, my friend, I got him into the walking and he became addicted to it. And this day he came to my house. This is about 4:30 in the morning. I came out. He said, are you going this morning? I said, I'm not going. He said, come on. I said, I'm not going. So I walked with him. And just when the climb had to begin, I went back. Something in me said that this morning. You ain't going anywhere. Your mother has church, you go into church with your mother. About 2 o'clock that afternoon, there was a rattling on our gate. And my mother went out, and somebody said, Mrs. Reed, your son and the name of the other boy, they drowned in Morocco. I was inside with my mom in the kitchen because I knew where the food was. And my mother said, no, he's here. That day my friend drowned. And there was another guy he had met who lived not too far, he also drowned. And something hit me in that experience. You don't hear it. It is not a voice. It's just a knowing that this friend you have in you tells you what time to get up, what to do, when to do, how to do, why to do, what to do. And if you follow it, you'll be like me here, after all these years, telling you a story that could save your life. There is an inner friend who is seeking to make contact in every experience. Sometimes, we look at experiences and as oh my God, why did this happen? I better go to the soothsayer and they might read some leaves. All you need to do is to become still and know that I am God. Just figure that out. Become still and know that I am presence in me is the entire universe looking out for me. And all I need to do is to listen and obey. When Jesus called the disciples, he said to them, follow me. Meaning what? Walk the straight line. And as you walk this straight line, every crooked place will become straight for you. Every mountain shall lower. Everything in your life will become even keel. And no more get up in the night crying and headache and heartache over somebody on the outside who you need to release. If you're not with me, you're against me. And two of us can't live together if we don't agree. And I shouldn't be trying to make you, don't you see my point? Can't you get it? Don't need to do that. Set them free. And see how God will open up windows for you. Because the slave and the slave master are one. They sit there watching each other. They can't do anything creative. They can't move. They're locked into each other. Stop watching other people. Let them be. Let them go forth and multiply, and you will have the time to enjoy what they bring back. You go forth and multiply too, so that you could share what you have gained with others. That's pure love. God did not create any of us the same. So in all relationships, there are going to be differences. Hello now. Your role is not to change the person, but to look at the man in the mirror and say, yesterday, all my troubles seemed so far away. Yeah. Today is a new day. Today is the day that God has given me another opportunity to live at the highest. Forgetting the things of the past, I press on. Because I have this idea and this dream that I want to live for. And the only thing I can do if I want to live it is to listen to my friend within me. Jesus called that friend his Father. I call it my I am. The beginning of everything that I do, my I am. God bless you.